What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, Teddy 27.
What's good tonight? Right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating a drink.
Look a damn mess. Just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What's up? It's me, Teddy 27, and I am back for yet another review. This is going to be our review for Queen Sugar. It is season 5. It is episode 9. It is entitled In Summertime to Simply Be. So, y'all, I know I'm real late with this. I'm a whole week plus late on this. So you're going to get back-to-back reviews. You're going to get this one, and then the next one I'll upload will be the season finale, season 10. So, but let's get into episode 9. Blue comes in the house looking for his 1619 curriculum packet. I love that. It's always the attention to detail for me, because the fact that he has a 1619 curriculum packet, meaning that somebody's really educating him on the true history of these yet to be United States of America. Shout out to the 1619 report. Anyway, he goes through the house looking for talking to his mom, and then he finds the letter from the school in DC. I think it's called Sidwell or something like that. And he finds his acceptance letter. He reads it, and he goes to his mom and dad and says, "This sounds like a cool thing." And so they sit down and have a conversation about it. Then we see Davis still at Charlie's house, and he's taking care of her, making sure that he fixes that pane in the window. Not the window, in the door, because she has the little glass door the door with glass panes in the door. So, and remember, he had to break through it in order to break in order to get in the house. So he's putting a piece of wood there until it gets fixed, so it's not just open and vulnerable. And they talk. My thing is, I would have thought that he would have did that earlier, because does that mean that they sat in his house for all these days? Would it just open and somebody could, I don't know, child, but maybe I'm thinking too hard. But they talk and they reminisce on old times when he was sick, when she was sick, and all this, that, and the third. Anyway, he done bought groceries for her and everything, just doing, all he can to take care of her and make life comfortable for her. Hollywood and Vi at home, and he got glasses now because, baby, he can't see. Welcome to the party, pal. You got to go through your initiation, though. You got to be initiated into the brotherhood and sisterhood of the spectacles. Initiation will be next week. Have your unbroken white, okay? Anyway, shouts out to all my fellow brothers and sisters. Now, Vi is trying to call Nova, and Hollywood is like, "Why are you calling her?" So she could talk to Ralph Angel, and he was like, "Why don't you call him?" And she was like, "I thought you told me not to meddle." Well, you might as well be meddling, because you trying to do it, through Nova. A mess, a whole mess. Because she, by no stretch of the imagination, wants Blue to go. So then we see Nova does call Ralph Angel. So clearly, Vi did talk to Nova. She talked to Ralph Angel about, the situation with Blue, and him making a decision not to have or what they're going to do. So Ralph Angel had to check her and say, "Wait a minute, you went to Tulane. What are you talking about? How dare you?" And she was like, "I didn't know then what I know now," and this, that, and the third. And they just have a conversation. He said, "Well, right now, as it stands, Blue is not going." And so, and even when Ralph Angel and Darla talked to Blue, they told him, because Blue was so excited, they were like, "No, that means you would have to move away." And Blue was like, "I really don't want to do that." And they were like, "Well, right now it's just an opportunity. It's a letter. We haven't decided anything yet." And so the door was still open for that. We then see Vi calls Ralph Angel. They talk about Ralph Angel making a decision. Vi keeps on going on about how Blue can make a life for himself in St. Joseph. And how, ain't nothing wrong with living here in St. Joseph, this, that, and the third, ... And you saw Ralph Angel's mind start to ponder and really think, like, why would I want to limit my child? Yeah, St. Joe might be okay, but as a parent, you want the world to be your child's oyster. You want your child to be able to enjoy and, go as far and be as big as they want to be, and never stifle or limit their growth. And you saw Ralph Angel's mind going, "Yeah, my son can have better than this." And so, hell, he works as a janitor down to the nursing home because it got so bad around the house. And no parent wants that for them. I'm not saying that working as a janitor for a nursing home is that bad, but you definitely want to give your child options to have a better life than having to be reduced to that. Because that wasn't even Ralph Angel's first choice. He was reduced to that, just like his dad was. and he wants more for his child. I don't blame him. At Charlie's house, David is still there doing what he's doing. They continue in the bond. They continue to, have these talks and reminiscing and all of that good stuff. You see what's working on here. Y'all already see what's working here. Nova then is on FaceTime with White Boy Cop. She seems okay with White Boy Cop at this point. I wrote down, but she keeps looking at that article. And I kept saying that article. And I told y'all, well, we'll get there. I ain't going to even, let me not, we'll get there. Micah and Ralph Angel then talk on the phone. Now, this is an important conversation, a very important conversation, because you hear up to this point, everybody who Ralph Angel has talked to has talked about, no, he needs to stay with his parents. Oh, no, you can find something here. And so Micah talks to Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel talks to him about the opportunity. And Micah was like, let him go. And Ralph Angel was like, but you went to a HBCU and you graduated from a St. Joe High School. He was like, that's because I went to those prep schools. And let's be clear, I chose to go to an HBCU. I had options. And this might come off uncomfortable. There are a lot of Black people who don't necessarily have the option for whatever reason to say I can choose not to choose Harvard for whatever reason, be it because of the reasons. But my point is, don't limit your child and not allow him to explore any opportunity, because it's their life and not yours. And the problem becomes, a lot of parents try to live vicariously through their children as if they're having a second life or a second chance at life, and they're not. It's not your time. It's not your choice. That's your child's. And so, what's going on with my camera? Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, so that conversation that Micah had really was important. And I don't think a lot of times, we become so stifling in our image and everything has to be, always choose black, as if everything else is bad. But what Micah wanted to tell him was, listen, at least give him an opportunity, because I always say, sometimes you got to be able to have a piece of paper that says, I'm a credential holder. Let me in the room to have the conversation. And if you're not a credential holder, they're not going to let you in the room. And I don't care how much information you have. I don't care how great your information is. If you don't get access to the room, nobody's ever going to hear it. So sometimes you have to check off a few boxes and be a credential holder. Say, no, I have credentials to get in here. Let me in. And does that mean sometimes you have to go to the place, go down the road less traveled, or go to the place that some people may not be okay with you going to? Yes, that's what that means, unfortunately. Anyway, Ralph Angel brings home this Black Panther action figure. And remember, after, I think it was last episode or episode before that, I was very curious as to how this was going to go with the doll. I was really, really curious what was going to happen with the doll. He brings this Black Panther action figure, and he has a conversation with Blue about Chadwick Boseman. And I know there were a lot of parents that had to have that conversation, because they took their children to go watch Black Panther. When they would see Chadwick Boseman, they would think about Black Panther, and he became a hero for a lot of Black children. The white kids they love people, but Black kids had them some Chadwick Boseman and Black Panther, and having that conversation, I'm sure a lot of parents can tell you that was difficult. That was a difficult conversation. Blue says he's a big kid and doesn't play with dolls anymore, because Ralph Angel started reminding him about Kenya and stuff like that. He says, well, I'm going to keep this in the box and I'm going to have it as a collector's item, but I don't really play with dolls anymore because that's for little kids. I thought that was so cute, and we all remember Kenya. Nova then talks to this other Black female activist, and they talk, and she's looking into this case that's like haunting her almost. She's trying to get information about this case in this from this article that she read, where the police beat up this boy, and he had almost life-threatening injuries and got gravely paralyzed. He was a college athlete on scholarship. We learned about this an episode or two ago. So then Charlie and Davis are back at home. They talk about Micah and how well he's doing. And every time we see them, we see more bonding. We see the bonds getting stronger and stronger. And they look more so now like husband and wife than they have in a long time. Ralph Angel is walking through the house, and he overhears Blue talking with his friend on the phone. And his friend is telling him, and they're talking about what they don't want to be when they grow up. And the friend is talking about all these different things. And Blue was like, well, my pop is a farmer, and granddad was a farmer, and I'm going to be a farmer like them. And so the friend says, is that what you want to be? And so Blue was like, well, my pop was one, and I'm going to be like my pop. And you could hear the angst in Blue's voice because you knew he wanted to do more, but he felt so tethered to the idea of having to be like my dad. And I think to a certain degree, Ralph Angel saw that in himself because I think Ernest might have made him feel like he had to carry on the family farm and the family tradition, and he doesn't want to. And maybe he wanted to do something else when he was younger, and doesn't have the opportunity, and he doesn't want that for Blue. So then Ralph Angel goes and he talks to Darla. He said about the Blue going to the school. He was like, "Listen, we need to talk." And so Ralph Angel and Darla make the decision to let Blue go. So they sit down with Blue and they talk to him about going off to the school in DC and living with his grandmother. So then we see Charlie and Davis at home. Now Ralph Angel is reaching out to the family, telling the family, "Listen, we got a family meeting. I got an announcement to make, so forth and so on." But Charlie is still ignoring phone calls, still, evading everybody. Her and Davis talk about her and where she is, and David, he gives her a talk about just being happy with who she is and where she's at right now, literally having COVID, dealing with everything going on, and also what she's going to be doing moving forward, just being content with what life presents you because you have a great life and there's nothing wrong with who you are and where you are. Nova then comes home from her run. She accidentally knocks down the picture of her and White Boy Cop, and the glass shatters all over the ground and whatnot. And I vividly remember that. One of y'all, one of my wonderful subscribers who watch me, I know y'all remember, and y'all might be able to tell me which episode. I think it was either last season or season before last. I know I was reviewing the show at the time because I remember discussing the same thing. Like I had a moment of deja vu because if y'all remember, there was a scene where she knocked down a picture, and I think it was a picture of her and the family or something like that. But she was at home. I think somebody came over and a picture was knocked down and it was shattered glass all over the floor in the same way. And I talked about on the review how that was a metaphor and how it was foreshadowing and this, that, and the third. And it took me all the way back there. And I said, oh, some shit is about to happen with White Boy Cop. I immediately said, oh, White Boy Cop done did some shit that she know. I immediately said that. I said either he done cheated or I didn't know exactly what it was, but I said something is gonna happen to split them up. Anyway, she gets a call from someone, and it's the guy from the story, from the article, and she talks to him, and they set up a time for her to come in and talk to him. So then we see Blue and Dollar. No, I'm sorry, Ralph Angel, Blue. Ralph Angel and Darla start off the family meeting. Blue comes in, sits down, and they're all on Zoom. They're talking. Blue tells the family, "Listen, I heard I got accepted into a wonderful school in DC, and my mom and dad told me that I can go, and they're going to let me go." And the family did what they were supposed to do. They were happy. They were congratulating them. Vi tried to put on a fake smile. Blue caught it and told her, "I'm sad too," and so forth. Vi texts Ralph Angel while in the middle of this Zoom call, said, "We need to talk about this." Baby, Ralph Angel calls Vi, and I was like, what in all that is holy? Vi goes in. Ralph Angel goes in even more and let her know this ain't your goddamn child. Because she goes in and she weaponized herself with the same weapon that she uses all of the time on them. On Charlie, on Ralph Angel, and on Nova. Anytime she wants to cut deep, your mom would be disappointed in you. Your dad would be disappointed in you. Well, let's be clear. Sometimes our parents are disappointed in us about things, and sometimes they're wrong about their disappointment. Sometimes you find out they were disappointed and they were upset about something, and came to find out, and when it's all said and done, they had no reason to be upset or disappointed, and they just didn't, they thought wrong or they had it wrong. And the other part about it is, Vi, you are not their mom. You're not their dad. And I don't care how well you knew them. You cannot speak to how the mom and dad would say or what the mom and dad would do. They're not here. Just like I'm sure when Charlie first got pregnant, if she talked to Vi, And Val would have been like, "Oh, your dad will be very disappointed in you," and come to find out the dad wasn't disappointed at all. The dad said, "You know what? It's fine. You can do what you do." So I just don't like how she always weaponizes herself that way. And she went even further and called that and told him, "You still a boy." And I was like, and you already know he struggles with, and is self conscious about that because he knows that the rest of the family sees him that way, as if he's not a man, as if he can't make his own decisions. That whole conversation was a mess, a damn mess. I lost a whole lot of respect for Aunt Vi. Not the actress Tina LaFord, but the character Aunt Vi. Lost a lot of respect for her after that conversation. Davis then leaves, and him and Charlie have a conversation. She was very thankful for him coming. He was like, "I'm supposed to be here. You know, I did what I'm always going to be here." I mean, basically letting her know, yeah, I mean, we might be divorced or whatnot, but I was your husband. You're the mother of my child. I'm supposed to be here. So he reassured her that he was in the right place. Finally, we see Nova. She has a conversation with the guy that got paralyzed by the police brutality from the article. And he tells her the story about how he got beat up and it was so sad and she's crying. And it's a very emotional moment. And I noticed he wasn't crying at all. And I said, oh, I would think, that kind of moment would have him. He was very about it. And she asked him if he knew who his attacker was because he was like, yeah, and it was the last guy who kicked me. That's how my back got broken. It was the very last cop who kicked me that broke my back. She was like, do you know who he is? Did you get his badge number? He was like, I absolutely know who he is. I'll never forget his face. He said his name is white boy cop's name. I can't. Not that I shouldn't say I can't remember it, but I've always told y'all he's always going to be reduced to white boy cop. And he says white boy cop's name, and Nova is mortified. And he said, He said, I thought that's why you came to talk to me, because you thanked him in your novel. And I was like, ooh, dig the knife in harder. I was like, bitch, this boy knew. Oh, God. Not only knew who the cop was, but knew that you were aligned with this cop. A mess. It went off from there, y'all. I was like, oh, God. That was episode 9. Stay tuned real fast for episode 10. We'll be back with episode 10 series finale. That's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.